again, Old School Ben. In the past, I have covered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the PlayStation, the game that kicked off the franchise and started a wave of extreme sports games in the early 2000s. Today, I will be skipping over a few of the sequels and focusing on the 5th installment of the Tony Hawk franchise, Tony Hawk's Underground, or Thug for short. This is for my subscribers who have been very vocal about me covering the game. I initially wanted to cover the Tony Hawk games in order, but the people have spoken. In my opinion, Thug is arguably the single best Tony Hawk game of the lot. Following THPS 4, the first game in the franchise to break the timed goal formula, Thug returns with an open world allowing you to complete goals at your leisure. Thug also brings the new element of storytelling to the game. The story in Thug follows you, an up-and-coming skater, breaking into the world of professional skateboarding. The story is admittedly thin but works well in developing the character Eric Sparrow, who eventually becomes your rival. Thug was received very well upon its release, warranting a sequel, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, but that's a tale for another video. Thug would bring new control mechanics to the franchise, including the ability to jump off your skateboard and control your skater on foot. These off-board mechanics would come in very handy in the game and would continue to be improved upon in future games. It's kind of a no-brainer to think about, but being able to get off your board in a skateboarding game opens up so many opportunities for new tricks. For the first time in gaming history, Thug allowed for acid drops, caveman grinds, and expand upon skateboarding games even further. In fact, even EA Black Box's Skate, a game that will go down in history as the game that dethroned the Tony Hawk franchise, would later add off-board mechanics to its sequel, Skate 2. Needless to say, Thug was ahead of its time in this aspect. It was also ahead of its time in regards to online play. While THPS 4 was the first game in the franchise to take advantage of the PlayStation 2's network adapter, Thug's online play was vastly improved and was home to a booming online community at the time of its release. In fact, Thug was the first game I ever played online on a home console. All you needed was a DSL connection and the PlayStation 2's network adapter and you were in business. Obviously, the servers have since been taken down, but a few hardcore fans have found ways around this and continue to play the game even to this day. The controls are smooth, pretty much exactly what you would expect from a Tony Hawk game. The ability to perform pressure flips and wall plants are a welcome addition, and the game improves on freestyling, a feature that is also introduced in THPS 4. The game introduces Create a Trick, a feature that allows you to create your own custom skateboard tricks that you can assign to be one of your special tricks. Yes, special tricks are back and better than ever, allowing multiple slots to be assigned to completely customize your skater's trick set. In addition, special trick slots can also be unlocked by completing each level's pro challenges. If you're familiar with the Tony Hawk series, beginner and normal modes will be a walk in the park. Expert mode is seriously for the most hardcore players who can likely bust huge combos in their sleep. You definitely won't be sleeping on the challenge that Expert mode brings you. The challenges, in particular, the competitions, are much more difficult, demanding higher scores and combos. I would not recommend this mode unless you are truly a Tony Hawk badass. Improving your stats is also different in this game as it uses a pseudo XP system, giving you extra stats for completing long grinds or manuals, for example. It forces you, the player, to take an active role in improving your skater. This becomes increasingly apparent as you progress through the game and find that certain challenges cannot be completed without literally grinding to get XP to level up. This leveling system suits the game's open world and complements customization by giving you a choice on how you decide to level up. Another new addition is vehicles. They control like shit and do little more than pad the game's length. I usually save the driving challenges for last. The driving just seems like an afterthought that was shoehorned into the game at the last minute. Aside from that, this game is pretty damn good. One of my favorite parts of making this video is talking about the music in the game. Previous Tony Hawk games have all had memorable soundtracks, each game with its own flavor. Since Thug was short for Tony Hawk's Underground, the game would reflect this underground spirit in its music. The game offers an array of underground hip-hop and grassroots punk with some heavy jams to round out the soundtrack. This is the part of the video where I list off some of my favorite groups. NoFX, Jurassic 5, Angry Amputees, Bad Religion, R.A. the Rugged Man, Cannibal Ox, Deltron 3030, Quasimodo, Dropkick Murphys, Social Distortion, Mastodon, Stiff Little Fingers, People Under the Stairs, Nas, J-Live. I literally cannot list all of my favorites because the soundtrack is so good. Seriously. Thug not only has the best soundtrack out of any Tony Hawk game, I'm willing to say that it has the best soundtrack out of any skateboarding game. However, some of the songs do clash and I don't really feel like they all fit in. I make a habit of unchecking the song Drive by Blind Iris because it's a terrible song. Also, the game has 3 songs by the band Kiss. I'm not a fan, but obviously it's a tie-in as Headman Gene Simmons becomes an unlockable character along with the Kiss concert-themed level. The game is bursting with extras once you beat the game, which, surprise surprise, forces you to beat the game a second time to get the real ending. The game is actually quite dense, and I don't advise trying to play this game in one sitting. The story is intriguing enough to give the game a simple narrative, and I've already given my praise for the quality of music in the game. The voice actors do a decent job in adding to the game's story. Granted, pro skateboarders don't always make the best voice actors, but it's never an issue that detracts from the gameplay, and many of the pros are introduced to the game in a unique way. I have actually been playing the GameCube version of Thug for this video, but the PlayStation 2 version, in my opinion, offers, or at least offered, the most intriguing features, among which is the ability to upload a photo of your face to the game and online multiplayer. These features were only available for the PS2 version. The PS2 online multiplayer was handled by GameSpy, owned by IGN Entertainment at the time. The service offered third-party online matching and connected gamers all around the world when the servers were still active. Gamers as recent as 2015 have been using their own DNS server addresses as hubs to play the game with other devout Thug fans. But sadly, the online community is less than a shadow of its former glory. On the bright side, it is comforting to know that the game can still be played online to this day with the proper online setup. While we are on the subject, the PS2 controller, in my opinion, was better suited for the Tony Hawk games than the GameCube controller, which lacked the proper amount of buttons to play the game comfortably. I initially was going to do a long rant about why the PS2 controls are better and why the GameCube controls are busted, but instead I realized that it would be biased, as I initially played the game on PS2 first. However, a person who played the game on GameCube may struggle with the PS2's take on the game's controls. The point is that the controls are different between the 2 ports of the game because the GameCube controller has less buttons and makes the experience of playing the game have a different feeling entirely when played on a different console. I can't really say how accurate that goes for the original Xbox version, but I imagine the controller was probably too heavy to play the game comfortably anyways. The Xbox version of the game did not have online play or face upload, despite the console being capable of doing so. Minor nitpicking aside, this game is arguably the best in the series. It did have a sequel, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, where a few improvements were made to the series as a whole, but I would say the first Thug is a better skateboarding game. Thug 2 was a decent enough game, but was not received as warmly as its predecessor. I hold the game in high regard, and though it's showing signs of its age in the graphics department, it still offers a very substantial gameplay experience. I recommend finding this game and giving it a playthrough. It's my favorite game in the series, and considering how many Tony Hawk skating games that exist, that's really saying something. It offers a challenge to players of all skill levels and has an addictive quality that makes it hard to put the controller down. That's all I got. It's a great game with a phenomenal soundtrack, a beefy story mode, and is bursting at the seams with bonus content. I definitely will be covering other Tony Hawk skateboarding games in the future, so if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to stay up to speed with new videos as I upload them. Hey guys, thanks again for watching the video. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to hear my opinion on skateboarding video games. A huge shout out goes out to Lil Bronx Thug, who's been a longtime supporter of the channel since pretty much the beginning. If you got half of a minute to spare, be sure to check out one of his videos. He is deadly on the battlefield. Also, I apologize for the delay in between videos. It's kind of been a rough start of the year for me, but I guarantee you that I'll have a lot more coming out very soon. So which skateboarding game should I cover next? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the videos I already made where I talk about some of my favorite skateboarding games. I have to go, but I will see you all very soon. Goodbye!